Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive deep? Today, we're going to explore something you might not expect to be, well, exciting.
Yeah, let's just say it. Accounting.
Exactly. The history of accounting. But believe it or not, it's actually a pretty fascinating journey. Trust me on this one.
It's more than just numbers, you know?
Right. And it reveals a lot about how our world works, even today. For this deep dive, we've got excerpts from this text all about the history of accounting.
This is going to be good.
It is. We're going to uncover some unexpected truths about this field that honestly often gets overlooked. So you ready to go way back in time?
You know it.
Okay. Our sources take us all the way back to, get this, ancient Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia, that's what, like the cradle of civilization?
Pretty much. It's mind-blowing when you think about it. Accounting might be as old as civilization itself. What were they even keeping track of back then? I mean, come on. No spreadsheets, no calculators.
Right, but think about it. The challenges of early civilization were all about managing resources.
Makes sense.
Collecting taxes, facilitating trade. All of these activities require record keeping, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what accounting is, at its core.
Okay, so like the OG accountants were basically just like scribes keeping track of stuff.
Pretty much. But here's the fascinating part. A lot of early accounting was actually tied to temples.
Temples?
Yeah, they played a huge role in managing society back then.
Oh, interesting.
It suggests that, from the very beginning, accounting wasn't just about numbers. It was about organizing and maintaining the entire fabric of civilization.
Wow, that's a really interesting point. It makes you realize that accounting is more than just crunching numbers. It's about creating these systems, structures, that allow societies to function.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've talked about ancient Mesopotamia. Now let's jump forward a bit in history. What about the Romans? Were they into detailed financial records?
Oh, absolutely. Big time. In fact, we have this remarkable example. Emperor Augustus and his Res Gestae Divi Augusti.
Say that 3 times fast.
I know, right? But seriously, this document was basically a super detailed account of Roman finances during his reign.
Like a financial report card for an emperor.
Kind of. Can you imagine that level of transparency from a leader today?
Whoa. That's incredible.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about Roman accounting practices? I mean, were they just messing around or?
Oh, no. They were serious. It shows that they were already quite sophisticated, you know, back then.
Okay.
They were concerned with transparency and accountability. Still cornerstones of good accounting today, right?
Exactly.
But they were also capable of tracking revenue, expenses, even debts owed to the emperor himself.
Wow.
They had this whole system in place to manage this vast and complex empire.
So from ancient temples to Roman emperors, it seems like accounting has been this like constant throughout history, right? Just evolving alongside civilization.
Yeah, it's been there all along.
But when do we start to see something that actually resembles accounting as we know it today? Like, when did it start to look familiar?
Ah, that's a great question. That brings us to the 1400s, and this guy named Luca Pacioli. He's basically like the father of modern accounting.
The OG accountant, huh?
Pretty much. He published the first printed description of, drumroll,
Double entry bookkeeping?
you got it, a system that totally revolutionized the way we track finances.
Okay, I've heard of double entry bookkeeping, but I'll admit I'm a little fuzzy on the details. Can you break it down for us? Like, what's the big deal?
Sure, double entry bookkeeping is like the bedrock of modern accounting. It's a system where every single transaction has 2 sides, a debit and a credit.
Right. So like money in, money out.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But more like for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Okay.
This makes sure that the accounting equation assets equals liabilities plus equity always stays balanced.
Makes sense.
It might sound simple now, but before Pacioli came along and made this official, financial record keeping was way more chaotic.
Like the Wild West of accounting, huh?
Yeah, you could say that. Prone to errors. But Pacioli's system brought order to all that chaos.
So Pacioli brought order to the financial chaos. And his system is still the basis of what we use today. It's pretty amazing how something developed so long ago is still so relevant in our modern world. I mean, this has been around for centuries.
I know. It speaks to the fundamental principles of accounting and how they've just endured. But the evolution of accounting didn't stop there.
Of course not. There's always more to learn. Where do we go next in our accounting time machine?
Next stop, 19th century Scotland.
Scotland. What happened there?
That's where the accounting profession as we know it really took shape.
Okay, fill me in.
So in 19th century Scotland, Queen Victoria granted a royal charter to this group called the Institute of Accountants in Glasgow.
Fancy.
This officially marked the birth of, wait for it,
The chartered accountant.
you got it.
So that's where chartered accountants came from.
That's actually really interesting. It's like the need for these formalized accounting practices emerged as things got more complex, like global trade and these increasingly complex financial systems. Things had to become more structured just to keep up with the changing times.
Exactly. And that need for structure and standardization is reflected in, well, everything that came after. Like, think about the development of modern accounting standards. Like the Philippine Financial Reporting Standard, PFRS.
PFRS. I've heard of that.
And the Philippine Accounting Standards.
VAS.
These are all about ensuring consistency and transparency in financial reporting.
Super important.
These standards, while specific to the Philippines, are based on these international accounting principles, and they show how accounting practices have evolved to meet the needs of a globalized economy.
It's been quite a journey. We've seen how accounting has evolved from ancient temples to these standardized practices and global standards.
It really has. It makes you appreciate the complexity and importance of this field, even beyond just the numbers themselves.
For sure. And it kind of leaves us with this thought-provoking question to ponder.
Ooh, I like a good question.
How will accounting continue to adapt in the digital age? With technologies like blockchain and AI rapidly changing the financial landscape.
That's a great question. It really is an exciting time for the field. Makes you wonder what innovations are right around the corner, how they'll shape the future of accounting.
Right.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We've only just scratched the surface, but hopefully it sparked your curiosity to explore the world of accounting even further.
I hope so too. There's so much more to discover.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.